ties in the one where there's no separation, where the light is always safe. Honoring all our differences and love will set us free. Oh, oh, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I see the blessings of the past. It's time to re-qualify. Let's not forget, but learn to forgive. God knows we gotta try. It's my responsibility to heal the wounds in me. Compassion, faith, and hope, and love, and truth will set us free. Oh, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. Oh, Lord, I said, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. Oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. Grateful for your tenderness. Life can feel unkind. Grateful for the way you say when I'm stuck inside my mind. Grateful for your courage to hold your steady ground. I'm grateful for compassion when mine cannot be found. Compassion when broken hearts bleed. Sweet compassion when my soul's in need. I find compassion for friends and enemies. My own compassion is where my spirit breathes. Oh, grateful for your thoughtful words when emptiness abounds.
Good morning and welcome to Unity of Springfield Sunday morning celebration service. And I am wearing white today because it's still before Labor Day, although I will tell you I don't buy into that stuff really anyway, because I will wear white after Labor Day. Somebody made those rules, and who knows who it was that made those rules. It's good to be back with you this week. Paul and I were on vacation in Colorado. His four girls live out there. So we got to go out and spend time with them, and it was just so nice. Nice needed break for us. And I want to say a huge thank you to Mitch for taking things on last week. I know that, we didn't get the 9:15 up, but, we just go with the flow, and it's all good. And this week you're going to get to, or you did already get to hear James Masters, hopefully. If not, I encourage you to go watch that on the 7 main aspects of God. But now we're gonna call Mitch in and see what he has to say to us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely holiday weekend. It's been packed for me already, and I have barbecues and barbecues and barbecues to do. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you're having a good time too. I'm back here in my regular capacity of not messing things up too terribly. Last week was kind of crazy. Now I'm back in my ballywick of doing one small thing, so that's good instead of messing up lots of large things. Now, awesomeness. If you would please join us in our mission statement. Our mission is to encourage and inspire spiritual and personal growth by empowering each other to be authentically all that we came here to be. And now, if you please join us in our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And let's move on over to our affirmation and our daily word. Our affirmation is, I place my faith in the healing power of God within. Whenever I am facing a health challenge, I turn to God in prayer. This sacred time communing with the divine reminds me of my spiritual nature. As I ponder my oneness with God, I feel more and more at peace. My spiritual identity helps me tap into the wellspring of health within me. Made in the image and likeness of God, I am innately whole. I know there is a power within me that is greater than any circumstance or condition. I experience greater health and well-being as I trust the power of God within, restoring and renewing me in all ways. As I place my faith in the healing power of God, I feel restored, renewed, and vitally alive. Matthew 9:22 is our scripture today. Jesus turned and seeing her said, Take heart, daughter, for your faith has made you well. And instantly the woman was made well. Once again, our affirmation, I place my faith in the healing power of God within. That leads us into our prayer. Our prayer for Sunday, September 6, 2020. If you would like to place yourself or a loved one on the prayer list, please call the church at 417-887-2214 and leave a message. Or you can email us at cunity@sbcglobal.net. This week, prayer was requested for Alex, Hannah, Bob, Jenny, Beth, Diane, Ron, and Karen. As we take a deep breath, we focus on the truth that God, the good, is everywhere present. And God expresses in us, as us, through us, and everyone. We pray for all whom prayer was requested. We pray for each of us for healing, for strength, and peace of mind. We enfold all who have been affected by the pandemic, physically, mentally, financially, and with healing in all those aspects. We surround all who have been affected by racism and protests with peace, harmony, and respect. We affirm fairness, truth, and respect of differing opinions for those involved in the political arena. May kindness and service become a normal rather than appearing only in times of the highest need, and may the kindness continue to expand. Radiating from within, we share joy, happiness, and faith to raise the energy and uplift the consciousness of our one human family. May peace and harmony replace any chaos surrounding us. We choose to remember we have come here to be the best human being that we can be. God blesses us all, and we are infinitely grateful. And so it is, and always shall be. Amen. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks to everybody for pitching in and making this all work together. We had a great service, a great musical musical session with Carrie Kugler. So thanks, Carrie, for coming and singing with us. And I will see you all next week. Namaste to you.
And thank you, Mitch, always for just giving so much of your time. You know, we are getting ready for this concert, and not only that, but just our regular music. And Mitch and Carrie open up their home for everybody to go over there and practice. So that takes hours out of their week. And then, you know, Mitch doing this for us. We really, really, really do appreciate you. So as Paul is getting ready to ring the prayer bowl, we are going to do a healing meditation today. So I'm just going to invite you to open yourself up, open your mind, open your heart, and just allow yourself to feel that healing energy that is everywhere present, moving in to any area of your body that has been unlike the wholeness that you desire. And just taking in the energy of that prayer bowl. I'm going to invite us as we listen to this beautiful Indian flute music in the background. Native Americans are so open to the Great Spirit for each and every one of us at this moment, just to open ourselves up to the Great Spirit, Holy Spirit, Atman, Father, Mother, God, Creator. And I am going to invite us to bring into our mind someone or something that immediately makes us feel that our heart is filled with love. Could be your partner, a child, a grandchild, an animal, being out in nature, but just let yourself feel the incredible love that wells up within you as soon as you think about this. And then I'm going to invite you just to multiply that love by 10. And let it fill your mind, let it fill your entire being, and multiply that love again by 100. Continuing to keep it encased in your physical body. And multiply that love by 1,000. And feel the incredible pulsation of that energy of love. That love that is filled with life. With upliftment, with expansion, with wholeness. That love that is pulsating within your physical being that at this moment is filled with incredible joy. And now I'm going to invite you to expand that love by 1,000,000 times, and now let it just emanate from your beingness out into your home, into your city, into your state, into your country, into the world, and out into the universe and beyond. There is only one presence and one power. And that is God, the ultimate creator that designed in this intelligence this human body. And this great designer, engineer, creator that created it knows how to heal it. So in these moments, I'm going to invite you to open yourself up to that healing energy of God. And just allow yourself to feel that energy moving into any aspect of your physical body, of your mind, that is not functioning as you desire it to function. And literally allow yourself to feel that healing life energy move in. Imagine it's the great physician's hands, if you will, touching. Immediately feeling that life energy that is healing you. Allow yourself to move into that knowing that it is being done in this moment. Claim it for yourself. At this moment, I am being healed. At this moment, healing is occurring on every level of my beingness. At this moment, I am being healed. And I'm going to invite us just to move into a few moments. Let it just be you and God. And as we claim this life-giving energy for ourselves, let us claim it for every human being. Let us see a massive awakening to the greater reality of the divine that is within each and every human being, and see that healing energy doing its mighty work in each and every other human being. We are powerful. We are co-creators. And at this moment, we are being healed. And so it is, and so it shall be. And amen. So, as you know, today we are talking about healing. And so we're going to go to our band and Carrie Kugler, and she is going to be singing Healed, Whole, and Healthy by Karen Drucker. thank you so much. It's just so good to see some of our singers in there too. So thank you so much, Carrie, and thank you so much to our band, and of course Beck, who is the great cameraman. And again, I'm going to talk about this after the talk, but just a reminder that we do have our concert coming up a week from yesterday. So this coming Saturday from 5 to 7 at the church. So outside, come and join us. Okay, so we are continuing to talk about This Life is Joy by Dr. Roger Teal. And this is a book that really invites us into what it could be like to move towards living a life of mastery of the various areas of our life. We talked about the 7 pillars of truth. And these are truths that as we lean into these truths more and more, we can move out of that fear and that angst and that idea of separation. So we talked about this instant is love, this being is light, this world is consciousness, this idea is substance, this relationship is oneness, this journey is surrender, and this life is joy. If you have not been with us, I encourage you to go back and listen to the talks on these. And then Roger talks about the 9 portals of transformation. And these are opportunities for us to take these topics and to dance with them differently, to show up with them differently in our life than perhaps we have in the past. Things like, this fear is actually my friend, or this problem, it's actually a possibility. This judgment that I have, it's actually a yearning. This conflict is actually forgiveness. This disease is an opportunity for discovery. This change that I'm going through is new birth. This uncertainty that we're in, it's actually magic. This desire is fulfillment, and this risk is greatness. So we today are talking about this disease is discovery. So, but first I want to say that, it takes as much energy for us to live a life of conflict and angst and worry and fear, separation, victimization, and in fact, probably more energy, but then it takes the same amount of energy to do that as it is to live a life of happiness and joy, a life where we are centered on a more regular basis. But here's the thing, we are such creatures of habit. And if we're not awake and aware, our habit is going to take us right back to our old way of being. So our habits are going to take us right back to living in separation, or judging unrighteously, or just not remembering the things that are real and true. It does take more effort initially to change our habits. But I will say that ultimately, as we work with these principles, we work with these spiritual laws, we work with these truths, and we are dedicated to them, we make them a priority in our daily walk, our daily awareness. It ultimately doesn't take as much energy, because now they become the habits for us. And I will tell you this, it feels a lot better to live from an awareness of awakened consciousness than it does to live from this human consciousness that we're just getting pinged all the time. And I think every single one of us would raise our hand and say, we absolutely have experienced the difference, and it's much better to be in that awakened, more enlightened life. So just a reminder that the work is absolutely 100% totally worth the effort. So what I want to start with, and I've shared this with us before, but I just think it's important that we are constantly reminded of the magnificence of these human bodies, because I would have to say that for the majority of us, we don't spend enough time in awe of this body that is animated by a great mystery. So this is from the book Pronoia. So thousands of things go right for you every day, beginning the moment that you wake up. That through some magic that you don't fully understand, you're still breathing and your heart is still beating, even though you have been unconscious for many hours. You can see there's light of many colors floods into your eyes, registered by nerves that took God or evolution or some process millions of years to perfect. You can walk. Your legs work wonderfully well. Your heart circulates your blood all the way down to replenish the energy in the muscles of your feet and calves and thighs. And when the blood is depleted, guess what? It finds its way back to your heart to be refreshed. And this blessing occurs over and over every hour without stopping of your life. You can smell odors, you can hear sounds, you can taste tastes, many of which are quite pleasing. Aren't you happy that you can taste things? You can think. Your body is a self-healing organism. Our human body has an astonishing ability to heal. So here's some of this. A single cell is the origin of all human body. There are millions of cells in the human body. The cells divide and renew each second and thrive to keep our body in the state of equilibrium. We seek the help of medicine only to facilitate the natural healing capacity of our body. So when an injury happens to our body, blood oozes out, slowly coagulates, and forms a protective scab on the wound. Now, under this scab is an amazing healing process that takes place. And we don't ever think about this. We get a cut or something, it scabs over, but I was amazed at just understanding the process. The tissue or nerve cells in the muscle starts multiplying rapidly. The severed edges are soon repaired, and a bridge of cells develop between the cut. Then many new cells multiply, while the old ones that are permanently damaged are digested and destroyed by enzymes in white blood cells. The protective scab attaches to the wound till it completely is healed, and then it falls off when it is no more required. I bet none of us have really thought about that process. When a bone is fractured, a liquid is secreted at the damaged ends of the bones. The liquid later hardens and forms a temporary bone until the bone gets naturally healed. When you have a bruise, and I think all of us get bruises, it's an effusion of blood under the surface caused by a severe trauma or severe blow. This causes the tissues to collapse, and many cells are damaged permanently. That causes the discoloration and the inflammation in that area with pain. But with the passage of time, new cells replicate and replace the damaged ones. And how many times have we all experienced, well, hopefully not the broken bone thing, but probably at some point some of us have experienced broken or fractured bones. It's amazing how immediately our body, the second that something happens, it immediately starts rushing to do the work that it naturally knows how to do to heal the body. And the most impressive fact about all of this happens automatically without us ever having to think about it. And it is so important for us to step back sometimes and to really appreciate these magnificent things that house our spirit, our soul, whatever it is that's animating us, that have allowed us to be on this planet and to live the life that we have lived and to do the things that we have done. So just take a few moments and just be amazed by your physical being, your physical body. Now, Roger invites us to reflect on a time in our life when we have experienced maybe a disease, an illness, or a disorder, times that we assumed that it was fully healed. And then he invites us to look at these questions, to really contemplate, was it actually fully healed? So questions like, is it a healing if there has been a surface cure and yet nothing else has changed? Is it healing if there is no clearer understanding or inner growth? Is it healing if the taproot remains and the condition emerges again through the situation or players, though the situation or players involved might be different? We're talking about physical healing, but we have to understand that this applies to healing of anything in our life. And the thing that I think about with this one is that, is it really a healing if we have another relationship with somebody else, but we have the same experience? Is it healing if, in all honesty, a deeper wound still festers? Is it healing if there are opportunities left on the table, especially ones that could have led to greater compassion, wisdom, clarity of purpose or aliveness? Is it healing if there's no gratitude for the ordeal and the gift it offers? That's a huge one. And is it healing if the experience fosters no greater sense of higher life forces and our ability to align with them to reveal wholeness at all levels? If there has been no expansion into greater life mastery. Because here's what he says: there's a difference between a cure and a healing. A cure resolves things at the surface level. But what he says here is that healing is the revealing of the reality of spirit and the activity of truth. In other words, a true healing comes about as we go deeper into the greater reality of what animates us, go deeper into the greater reality of what has created all of this, all of everything that is all around us, and into the greater truth of all of that. And I love how he says this, that diseases and disorders are clever disguises for transformational launch pads on the soul's expansive journey. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking it's really important for us to remember that no one else can do this for us. We can read about things, we can listen to other people's experiences, but here's the thing: no one else can experience God for you. I can tell you what my experience of God, the divine, is, but that's my experience. No one else can experience this mystery for you other than you. Just like no one else can experience joy for you. People can feel joy for your experience, but they can't experience joy for you. What we have to remember here, my friends, is that we are in the driver's seat. We are the ones who are in the driver's seat. So I want to share with you a little story that Roger shares, and it's a story about Myrtle and Ethel. And they were two elderly ladies, and they had seen that there was this great exhibit coming up, and they were really excited and wanted to go. So they got their tickets, and that was the day came. They got in the car. They're driving to the museum, and Myrtle notices that Ethel ran a red light. And she kind of, looks at her, and she thinks, well, okay, I can just chalk that up to her absent-mindedness. But shortly, Ethel ran a stop sign, and then she ran another red light. And so Myrtle finally, she turns to her friend and she says, Ethel, do you realize that you have been running red lights and stop signs? To which Ethel looks at her and she goes, oh Lord, am I driving? Ba-dum-bum. It's hard not to have laughter after a joke, but I know you're laughing. The whole idea of that story, obviously, is we forget many times that we are in the driver's seat. We are co-creating this experience, but we are really the ones who are navigating this life experience through our consciousness, through where our mind is focused. And God isn't going to change that for us. That's the great thing about free will, is that we get to choose, but we have to recognize that we are the choosers, and that our choices make all the difference in the world in what our experience of anything is in our life. So, we especially feel that we're kind of not in the driver's seat of our life many times when an illness comes upon us. We feel, it's hard to feel out of control of your body. Paul and I have talked about this just as we're getting older, that there are little things here and there that change. And some of those things feel out of control for us. I've heard that, from other people, elderly people, that there's a natural process to our bodies, and our bodies do age. And yes, we can do a lot to keep our bodies healthy and whole and energetic and strong, but there's still a natural aging process to that. And I think when it comes to our bodies, it's especially hard to feel like we're out of control of that. So Roger offers us some things to help us get underneath some of these things and to move into that driver's seat where we have the ability to take control of this of our consciousness. So Roger says that there is a spiritual template of perfection that is the core intelligence in every substance, cell, fluid, system, organ, and function in the body. I want you to hear that again. There's a spiritual template of perfection that is the core intelligence of everything in our body. But he reminds us that we can jam the frequencies of this essential bodily intelligence and in so many ways. So some of those ways that he shares with us that we can jam the frequencies are things like feelings of prolonged fear, shame, agitation, discouragement, sadness, stress, anger, resentment, and hatred. And we're talking that these are prolonged things in our life, that this is where we live a good part of the time. These things are incredibly toxic to our physical being, and they definitely jam the frequencies. Other things that jam the frequencies are addictions and dependencies, and he helps us to understand here addiction including workaholism, continual forcing and manipulating, carelessness with food, exercise, and rest offered the body, judgmental habits, perfectionism, and more. And I think we do need to look at how are we treating this physical body. You know, our bodies do need specific nutrients. Our bodies need to move, and our bodies also need that rest time. And he said, and sometimes there's even that inherent belief that our bodies are weak and fragile, such as Myrtle Fillmore believed. She grew up believing that, and she changed that thought. And by changing that thought, she changed her consciousness, and she lived to be 80 in her 80s. So, you know, recognizing our bodies are vibrant and healthy. Now, here's what's one thing that's really, really, really important with this. And it is so important. And that's that there's a danger here. And that danger here is what he says, that we go on an inner witch hunt to then move us into this place of what have I done wrong? You know, what did I do to bring this on? And then we assume a sense of guilt for the disease or the disorder. And this is not where we want to be. That does not serve us, because that only takes us further down the road of toxic thoughts, which excrete toxic chemicals into our body, which damages our body. So this is not about beating ourselves up. But he said maybe there are some questions that we could ask that would empower us by asking these questions. So some of the questions are, what are the messages and opportunities in this situation for me? What is it time to release? And what is it time to embrace? And so an example I would give of that is that for years, I dealt with migraines on a pretty regular, I shouldn't say for years, for maybe about a 2-year period, with migraines on a really regular basis. And if you've ever had a migraine, it puts you down. You cannot be in light. The headache is just massive. You're sick to your stomach. It's a horrible experience and lasts for hours. And so one day after another migraine, I finally just went into this place of saying, okay, you know, what are the messages or the opportunities here? Why am I having these migraines all the time? And the answer that came for me at that time was that I had way too much on my plate, and that I was not giving myself the time that I needed to stop and to just be. And you know what the migraine did for me? It made me stop, because I could not do anything. Now, the beauty of that was that definitely changed the frequency of the migraines. Every so often I do still get a migraine, but nothing like what I used to get in the past. And, you know, those migraines, again, are that reminder for me, you know, I usually look at, have I eaten something? And I've not been able to trigger that, but, you know, am I not honoring that? So there are messages for us, things that we can release and embrace. How can I express more love, joy, and peace throughout my day? This is a huge one, because these are emotions, these are things that are going to bring happy chemicals, happy, good things into our bodies. And that's what we want to focus on. What is the highest and best for me, for all involved, and for this situation? And how could this situation become a transformational launch pad for me? And I promise you, and I'm going to share a story at the end about how these can be transformational launch pads for us. So here, he says that sometimes disease is a way that the soul gets a word in edgewise, since most of us don't really listen or respond well to our inner depths. We may know, we may get the message, I really need to slow down, or boy, I really need to think about what I'm putting in my body, or, but we're really good at ignoring those messages. So as difficult as it can be, Roger shares with us that soul messages sent by means of a disease or an illness can offer incredible grace and goodness. So here's some of the soul messages that may be occurring when a disease or illness occurs. To love more, to play more, to share more, and to work less. We live in a culture that is push, push, push. We live in a culture that is about more, more, more. And it is so important for us to take that time and that opportunity to be more engaged in what is important in life. Another one is to let go of haunting regrets and guilt. And it's easy to live in those things, to look back and to go, oh man, look at what I did or what I shouldn't have done. But to live anew, to finally say yes to a change, to some new chapter or some bold leap, or to slow down and to explore your heart's gratitude, to even lean into pain and to discover that inner strength, peace, and joy remain. And I will tell you, I know that that's not easy. When you live in pain on a daily basis, to lean into that pain. But what I have found is that when I can get to that place, that really it does help alleviate the pain in those moments when I'm focused on something different. And to say things that you've always wanted to say, mostly to say, I love you, to really, I think of how many times when people have a disease that comes upon them that's a life-threatening disease, that all of a sudden those filters are gone and they're no longer afraid to say the things that are on their heart to say. To know once and for all that fear is not your master, but that fear is your friend. To cherish the simplicity and the fullness of the moment, to be here now, to experience a divine awe. And I love how he says awe as an acronym, is amazement with everything. Because my friends, I'm going to tell you, we should be in awe all the time for everything because we live in an awesome universe. To fully embrace a shift or lesson that maybe this lifetime is really about, to transcend roles, status, and power so that we can remember who we really are. I tell you what, disease is no respecter of persons. Disease is not a respecter of, quote unquote, those that we have placed up on some pedestal. And it has brought many, many people who have placed themselves up there to a greater reality, and to let Spirit introduce you to an ever deeper love and a higher light. But hear this as well, because he says that sometimes disease or illness is a soul message that it is the perfect time to let go of the body that has served you so well, that you might move into the greater dimensions and joys of infinite life and love already prepared for your immortal spirit, that it is your soul's graduation day. Stephen Levine said that when someone overcomes a disease, that they are almost given a ribbon as a superhero. And what that sets up, without us even realizing it, is that when someone dies of a disease, it's almost looked at as being a failure. And it's unfortunate that this is kind of how we look at it. And it's also unfortunate to me in our society how we don't embrace death. Because to me, we leave one of the greatest aspects of God out. And that is the great mystery. There's this beautiful mystery of the divine, of God. that we can't wrap our minds around. You know, I think about the mystery of love that God is. God is love. And from our human perspective, we can't really wrap our minds around what that love is, because it's so massive. But within that love is this mystery of creation itself. I mean, this is a divine mystery, isn't it? And that, you know, that we, every single one of us, started out, you know, and divided into two cells, and all of a sudden, as you know, as I shared earlier, you know, we're created with 1 million cells. That this is implanted in the garden of a woman's womb, and that for 9 months, think about this, that a woman grows a tiny human being in her body, and we don't have to think about it. As a female, I never had to think about, geez, I wonder if I need to do something here to help the eyes form or to help the organs form. It's this beautiful mystery of creation. And that this human being at the right time is born into the world and is animated by a greater mystery. What is the mystery that animates us? Because here's what we know, is that something is animating us. Because the moment that the body quits functioning, that animation is no longer there, but it was there, and we know 100% that it was there through that person's entire life. But to me, it's looking at and embracing that death is a natural part of life, and that when this body dies, that it's simply this physical organism that is no longer functioning, but whatever it was that was animating us, that continues. And that is what, as Roger talks about, that's our the soul's evolution. It's the next greater dimension. It's the soul's graduation. I've always thought that, you know, birth and death were two sides of the same coin. That I really believe that just as one is being born into this life and they're coming into the light, literally, and they're coming through this tunnel and they're coming into, hopefully, an experience where they're wanted and they're loved, that it's the same thing on the other side. That when it comes our time, you know, it says we go through a tunnel and we see the light. And all people, not all people, but most people who have had near-death experiences have talked about the incredible love that is without the ability to define it or explain it, that awaits us on the other side. And you know, for me, I do believe that our souls go on, that there's this essence of us that continues on. So I think it's so important for us to really allow ourselves to dance in that greater mystery of what God is. Because what I can tell you is we can trust it, because it is good and it is love. So it's so beautiful. So I want to share with you that healing does come in different forms. And so Reverend Richard Barrage was a minister that I had some classes with when I was in licensed Unity teacher training. And when Richard was in high school, he was a basketball player and he had a car accident and he lost the ability to walk. And so he said, and he went on to go to ministerial school. And he said, you know, when it came time to talk about health and healing, he was just like, hey, you know, I'm the minister. I don't have to talk about that. Because he said he was thinking, how can I be talking about healing when I can't walk and I'm paralyzed? And when I, you know, hear the stories of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, and especially Myrtle, and how Myrtle healed herself, and, you know, what am I doing wrong, and how come this area of my life isn't working? And he poses the question to us, you know, have you ever had an area of your life that keeps popping up that you just can't seem to have a different experience, and it doesn't seem to be working? An example of that, again, would be having a relationship with different people, but having the same relationship over and over. He said, Charlie Brown says, sometimes at night I wake up and ask, where have I gone wrong? Then a voice comes and says, this is going to take a lot more than one night, Charlie Brown. So it's just that, opening up to how we can look at this differently. So James Dillett Freeman, who's a poet laureate, but James Dillett Freeman also started the seminary at Unity, said that everyone in this world is hurting in some way. Whether they are lost or lonely or wounded or struggling through a family issue, everyone is in need of healing. The most important work that any of us can do is to do the work on healing ourselves so that we can bring more light and love into the world. So Richard Moroz shares that his accident, it absolutely brought him to his knees. And it was incredibly difficult, as you can imagine, especially as a young man. But he said that it also caused him to go deeper, and it moved him into greater levels of compassion and understanding and levels of faith and focus that he hadn't had before. And it helped him to push himself to do things that he never thought that he would do. And he said that one day somebody said to him, you've done so well in spite of what happened to you. And Richard said, at that moment, I looked at this person and said, no, I've done so well because of what has happened to me. Every single one of us is who we are today not because life has been easy, my friends, but it's because we have been pushed beyond what we thought that our limits would be, and we were forced to go deeper. And sometimes dis-ease, whether it's in the body or finances or relationships, pushes us to go deeper into God. In fact, really, for me, that's where it should take us, deeper into God. It pushes us to go deeper into the reality of who we are and to discover the greater depths of beauty and wisdom and creativity and genius that is within us. The stories that Roger shares in his book about the people who dealt with disease and illness, some of them healed and some of them transcended, but all of it had to do with letting go of that outer world push, so to speak, and a movement into a deeper awareness of what is real. Now, that doesn't mean that we stop enjoying life, and in fact, it's quite the opposite. It actually means that we choose to enjoy life more, to move out of the stress, to move out of the controlling, to move out of that angst, and move into a more peaceful experience of life. So quickly, I'm going to run through these. Roger gives us 5 things that we can be doing. The first one is to move past the struggling and the forcing. And here's one of the things that he offers for us to do, and I love this. This is a great thing to do. This is a great spiritual practice. He suggests doing several sessions of streams of consciousness writing. Go into a period of meditation or prayer, and then open up a flow of insights by completing sentences like these. The core messages of this situation are what the universe is offering me through this situation is. What I am now ready to realize about myself is. What my body is telling me is. I want to tell you really quick here that when I was 38 or 39, I had to have a hysterectomy because I had this thing called endometriosis. And this endometriosis is scar tissue that grows. And after I had my hysterectomy, the doctor showed me a picture, and there was so much scar tissue, and it was around my bladder and my uterus. It was just around everything. And I looked at that picture, and in that moment, I knew that was indicative of how I felt inside, because I hadn't found my voice yet. And I felt so conflicted because I wanted to be real and authentic. And I made that decision at that point to start changing that. Number 2 is to align with love. Don't worry about the occasional moments of fear. We're going to have those. We just don't want to live in that place. But just like we did in the meditation, and that's a Michael Beckwith thing, is, bring that energy of love in. Think of what you love and increase that, numerous times. Let yourself feel the love. Number 3 is maintain the field. And what that means is, as you neutralize fear and as you allow yourself to be in that place of love, you create a healing field within you and all around you, which takes you to number 4, which is let the light shine. So visualize this light literally flowing throughout your body. And bring that energy, bring that light right into wherever you're feeling that dis-ease or illness is. And the fifth, and really one of the most important things, is to live anew. And that simply means, my friends, to live in the now, to be present to now. Let go of the angst of the past, let go of the worry of the future, and let yourself be here now. Be here and be in the blessings and the joy of this present moment. And I know that if you do these things, that healing will occur on a very deep level, whatever your body does. But you give your body a much greater opportunity to heal when you choose to do these things. So I say to you, namaste. So now is a time in our service when we have the opportunity to support our ministry. I do want to share with you that because of this coronavirus, we have not been able to have our fundraisers, and our fundraisers are a huge part of our budget. So our income at this point is solely from donations. So if you can increase your donation, we would so appreciate that. You can donate through our website at unityofspringfield.org. You can go to our Tithely app and download that. You can go through PayPal at ccunity@sbcglobal.net. And you can send a check to 2214 East Seminole Street, Springfield, Missouri, 65804. I encourage you to look at the value of what this ministry is now. But my friends, we not only want to make sure that we are taken care of today, we have an obligation, a responsibility to make sure that this ministry is going to be here for generations to come. So any way that you can help support would be greatly and grandly appreciated, and I thank you. So now we're going to invite back our band with Carrie Kugler and singing Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. Karen Rucker.
Shining in my
Cross and John Merrifield and Richard Ziegler and Blaine Stiles and Mitch Shears. And again, Beck, thank you so much. Okay, some announcements. I'm starting a new credit class this Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. Based on the book, The Eye of the Storm. We did this as a series years ago, but they've made this a credit class now for those who are pursuing licensed teacher, but you don't have to take it for credit. So it'll start on Tuesday, and then the following 4 weeks will be on Wednesday nights. So the reason for that is because World Day of Prayer is coming up next week. So we want to make sure that we are part of that. And I'm trying to think if I have that on there. There it is. Yes, sorry. So World Day of Prayer starts Wednesday, the 9th at 7 p.m. And then Thursday, the 10th, is the entire World Day of Prayer, all the aspects of that. You can go to our Facebook page and I believe our website, and you can find the link to World Day of Prayer, and I encourage you to be a part of that. Who is it? Eddie Watkins Jr. is going to be the music for the opening ceremony, so that'll be awesome. Okay, and and read the first 2 chapters on Eye of the Storm. Also, the concert, we're going to have our concert this next Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Bring your lawn chairs, bring your own food and drink. There's not going to be any sharing. We do require masks and social distancing. And the reason for that, my friends, is because we want everybody to feel that they can come and feel safe in that. We have some vulnerable people in our congregation, and if we're all not honoring that, that will not help them to feel safe. So come and join us. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have lots of New Thought music. It'd be a great time to come together and just to get to see each other, because I know we're all ready for that. We are staying online through the month of September, but we are so looking forward to when we can come back together again. Reminder that Abraham is on Saturdays. Unitine and Teens are on Wednesdays and Sundays. And that Rachel Willis will be doing our younger kiddos right after this on our Unity of Springfield Youth and Family page. Also, our Sunday morning Adult World Religion New Thought class at 9:15. Today, if you didn't get to see it with James Masters, I encourage you to. The 7 Main Aspects of God with Emmett Fox. And next week is going to be John Brocker on the 5 Levels of Attachment by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. As I've said before, this is an opportunity on these Sunday morning classes to get an incredible book review. I don't know about you, but I want to read all these books and I don't have time. So come and listen, or go and listen, because you can listen to these later. So let's now join in our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So now's the time to get up in the service and to do a little movement and dancing. I'm alive with the Spirit of God. It's really a great song for, bringing that energy of that life, that healing, that wholeness of God into us. So let's all get up and move and sing. Here we go. Woohoo! Oh yeah. Woohoo! Yeah! I hope you're up and moving. This is going to be at the concert too. I am alive with the Spirit of God. 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 I am alive, y'all. I'm alive with the Spirit of God. Let's do some twisting with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all. I'm alive with the Spirit of God. Let's do what you want. Let's do some old kind of dances, yeah. How about the swim? alive with the Spirit of God. Woo! I'm alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all. I'm alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all. I'm alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all. I'm alive with the Spirit of God. Woo! Yes. Oh, thank you, everybody, for being with us today. We do miss you so much, and I hope that you will plan on coming out on Saturday from 5 to 7, enjoying some music and just getting together to see each other in a safe way. We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you, and namaste.